The CEO of Crema Games, responsible for the long-forgotten Temtem, a game you may or may not know, but at one point this game did sell over 1 million copies, so it had a bit of fanfare for at least a while. Known as KiKillo, and I hope I'm saying that right, inside the Discord and in the community, has lost his freaking mind, having zero clue of what an MMO is supposed to be, and yet still promising everyone that Temtem was in fact an MMO. Whether or not you know about this game, there's still some really crazy drama going on in the community, and the CEO has absolutely descended into lunacy. I thought we'd have a quick discussion on it. I played Temtem maybe 1.5 years ago or a couple years ago, even playing through the whole thing on stream and uploading it to the YouTube. You can still find that video. The game really grew on me as I played through it, being a Pokemon fan for life and relatively starved outside of PokeMMO on PC. So when I found it, it wasn't even full release yet, and I enjoyed my time with it, getting about 70 to 80 hours. So I can say, for me personally, it is still a really good game, regardless of the overwhelmingly negative reviews it's been getting recently. But we'll get into why that's happening, like literally right now. When I got it, I believe I got it on sale for like 15 bucks, and it was supposed to be $30, I think at the time. But now it's going to run you around $50 just to play the game. That's all well and fine. Some games cost you $70 to $100, so whatever. The problem is, once you get into the game, you're greeted with nasty microtransactions, including a battle pass, which has no right to be in a game like this, unless it's supposed to be a games as a service, the live service model, which is exactly what they've promised time and time again, that Temtem is an MMO and it will continue to get post-launch content, which it did release about 1 year ago. If you're going to implement all these microtransactions, you have to make a promise to the players that they'll keep getting content, and they basically haven't fulfilled anything in terms of new content. Players have been starved for it. That's why it continues to keep such a low player count at all times, even though, like I said, it did sell 1 million copies, so it is a successful game despite its population on Steam, which will never really see that player count rise again because the CEO has absolutely obliterated the community and any kind of respect or trust that they possibly could have had for the game and its developers. Our boy KiKillo has been spending his time gaslighting and arguing with his fans in the community, the Discord. I'll put the whole post right here. It's actually kind of a funny read. He seems to not be able to take accountability for anything he's done or anything he's said. Saying shit like, we can't promise infinite content, then why are you asking for so much money? Hell, their Kickstarter actually raised $500,000. And all we're getting is a new roguelike game, Temtem Swarm. I watched the trailer, I was unimpressed. The only newish thing they're adding is evolving, but otherwise nothing seems really groundbreaking, revolutionary, or even worth whatever they're going to charge for it, and they really shouldn't be allowed to charge anything for this, especially if this post is true. This person is claiming Temtem Swarm was supposed to be a part of the base game. The only thing I could find in the Kickstarter about any kind of mini games is some sort of arcade system, which I haven't actually visited myself playing the game. But you'll also notice in the Kickstarter that they mentioned the mounts, which you could buy mounts in the store, which cost you microtransactions, which is a whole other level of corruption. So the big question is, if they made $500,000 on Kickstarter and sold over 1 million copies, all they can give us is a new game that they're gonna charge for? That doesn't even look that great? I mean, this thing just reeks of dead on arrival, and all you can think to do is attack your community and tell them they're wrong for the things that they want to see? I mean, you told them that no big content is coming soon, that you can't do the infinite content thing, which is a big part of MMOs. Maybe don't call your game an MMO unless you're willing to give them new tems, new islands, or reasons to stick around. Take a look at what Pocket Pair is doing. They made Pal World, which is another game inspired by Pokemon, but they went above and beyond that and they did their own thing, and it does feel like its own individual package, but it still gets that monster catching community to come through and enjoy their time there and actually respect the developers, mostly because they respect us. They talk nicely to us, they tell us what we're gonna get, they promise no microtransactions. I mean, time will tell if they follow through with these things. Everybody could talk out of their ass, but money is known to change developers and make them worse off long term. Going the Temtem Swarm route just makes no sense. A spin-off when you can make some new content, or a Temtem 2? I think a Temtem 2 would have had a way better reaction and people would have known where their money's going. Still would be a kind of a disappointment because they put so much time and effort into Temtem 1, which again has only been fully released for 1 year now. They're just throwing in the towel right away. They're pulling the old, you guys ask too much of us, but really they just want any signs of life at all for a game that they've loved and enjoyed. And since I got back into it, I've still been enjoying the game. Like I said, it itself is awesome. With the popularity of games like Power World, Lethal Company, and even Helldivers 2, a lot of people have been saying the gaming world has changed and we're all drifting away from these AAA or quadruple A games, instead opting for indie developed games that make games that seem like labors of love and passion passion behind them and trying to do something great to get noticed by a community and grow together. And then you see some indie devs like this that can't take constructive criticism from their community the right way. Not saying it's all constructive, there's always toxicity, especially when your players are getting stabbed in the face and back and balls, maybe a butt cheek or two. I'm not saying any of that's warranted, and I think people should try to deal with him and his ignorance in a nice way. Try to get across that we want to see great things for Temtem because they're just bleeding it dead. Lots of people have already been talking about leaving, which for someone that put in around 100 hours into the game about 2 years ago, I haven't seen any real reason to come back. I would love to see some new islands and to see the story extended and some new mechanics and features. That would have drawn me back, but I have seen none of that. There's no positive coverage here. There's nobody really wanting to support you anymore. To some, Temtem's always kind of been a meme and a Pokemon clone, but there are some really charming aspects to it and some creatures that you just can't help but love, like Platypet. I mean, that design would work so well in Pokemon or Pal World. He's awesome. There's other ones that are just as cool. Well, maybe not just as cool. I mean, it's hard to one-up Platypet. This guy is fucking sick. So you could see why the community expected better things. They never asked you for infinite content. No game really gets that outside of like World of Warcraft and some other one-off examples. They just wanted some worthwhile stuff, some new tems, some new islands, a reason to keep going and hope for a better future for something that they've fallen in love with. You're the one who messed up, and the opinions of your community are not the issue here. You're just ready to abandon it, pack up. I mean, what's it gonna hurt? It can't hurt you. You've made your millions of dollars and you're ready to walk away from it entirely. Can't say that that would be valid, but you're not the first person to have any adversity and backlash and immediately churn on your community, even though your demise is your own doing, as it often is. Trying to gaslight people and thinking you're the victim is really strange. You've just got to learn how to take accountability for your actions. You've paid me with your time and willingness to watch this video, so I want to promise you that it will never end. Bye! Drugs are sick. Like, super cool. If I could, I'd just sit around and do drugs all day.
They're pretty pog.
Drugs are pogger. Yeah, poggers, gamer, drugs.
Man.